But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, Sensual Goat, One Deck, Refracted Curvature, and a whole bunch of people in the Flipside Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
Almost. It's New Year's Eve for anybody watching this on a re-up or on the second channel in a fortnight's time when it's nowhere near New Year and we're in the middle of January. But yes, it is New Year's Eve today. So, Happy New Year for tomorrow. To all of you who are watching, I think I probably will do a show tomorrow. We'll see how it goes.
That ruins my idea. I was going to say we have to say it because you're not going to have a show tomorrow.
I might do.
But
I haven't decided
that.
yet. Just depends. I haven't decided. Depends on what mood I'm in. I don't tend to get drunk anymore on New Year's Eve. It's kind of young man's game, which I'm not anymore. So I don't tend to do that anymore. Drink, that is.
One drink on New Year's Eve. That's when the bells hit. Clock strikes 12, raise the champagne. Happy New Year. That's it.
Go ahead, Elvis. Elvis? Do you want to pop yourself on mute? Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I've got a gummy bear lined up, a gummy bear drink that apparently has been on TikTok that the kids want to make. So we've got all the ingredients for that, and we'll be making that.
Now, you got to be careful with the gummy bear. You're talking about candy gummy bears, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because there's gummies out there today. I hear people talking about them all the time. I had a gummy, and boy, did I feel good.
Oh, you're talking
I
about...
had a gummy, and it just made my tooth hurt.
Talking about THC in edible format, right? You're talking about a cannabis gummy bear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either. I've not done that sort of thing since I was a kid.
I wouldn't either, but it's like really popular. Like people that never even smoked, all of a sudden are gummies and eating these chocolate candy bars and having a happy, happy day.
Well, fair enough. It got like that about 10 years ago here in the UK when they decriminalised it to a certain degree. And over in the States, they've been making it less and less illegal in whatever state you're in. Obviously not all states. And therefore the acceptance level of doing it has gone up. My attitude towards it is still a drug. So, you know, just be careful.
Absolutely. It's funny how something could be deemed wrong and people can go to prison for it. Like gambling, for instance, betting on football games. But then when the government makes it legal, then it's not a crime anymore. Ain't that something?
Yeah, weird. I mean, we've seen it throughout history, right? Prohibition being the perfect example of it. The thing that's the most accepted drug there is, alcohol, suddenly isn't legal. And then, you know, you go to prison if you've got a speakeasy.
And now
Well,
you have
that's what made the mafia very powerful was the prohibition, because what it did was It made them a lot of money. And then they had the money and then they had the power. So it's the government's fault for giving the organized crime the power that they had prohibition on.
Yeah, I'm sure the same is true for almost all narcotics.
I don't think it is as strong as the prohibition because remember, the prohibition, everybody wanted to drink. Like it was legal before and then they stopped everybody from drinking. There's certain things that everybody's not going to want to do. Like your harder things, you know what I mean? Not everybody wants to smoke marijuana, so you could legalize it and it still wouldn't have the impact that outlawing alcohol had during that time.
Right, what you're saying is because not everybody's into smoking weed, if you
Correct.
make it legal and then make it illegal, it won't have as big an impact as when legality is ascribed to drinking and then you take that away. Suddenly it has a huge impact because there's a lot more people who want to be drinking, even
Absolutely.
casually. I see. Are we going to talk about flat Earth today or what?
Yeah, let's do that video. I'm excited about it.
Well, I was just going to ask Nathan. Obviously, things have progressed, and we are sort of doing things a little bit differently. But every year, we've sort of got a new approach. I think it was last year, front foot forward, Earth's measured flat. How would you sum up going forward in the not New Year because it's in January?
How would I summarise what? Ask again.
Like last year, I think we had we've had the Celeste navigation, the Black Swan. Last year, we was going forward on the front foot, telling people how Earth is measured flat off the front foot. So how would you sum up going into 2026 with our approach as we've developed our ways?
I don't know. I think an abandonment of the old school style of anti-globe debate will be a continuation of the recognition that Earth is measured flat. So obviously in 2025, we've all been very excited to put that rhetoric out into the public domain. That is to say, to tell people how Earth is measured flat is quite exciting. Where's my clicker? Whereas in 2026, I think, I don't know if apathy is the right word, being a bit more apathetic to the subject. That is to say, or indifferent maybe is the right word. Like, yeah, I've tried to push that forward by saying it's no big deal. And that is kind of how I feel. I don't feel as compelled to try and convert next man away from their rhetoric of a bull. In some ways, I feel the opposite. I feel like, believe what you like, because I now know. So there's a sort of quiet confidence in myself that I feel. Now I know the score beyond any reasonable doubt, or beyond any doubt in terms of how Earth is measured. It is just flat. But you go from wanting a silver bullet so you can annihilate the rumpus in debate to going, I don't care. You get your silver bullet and you're like, no, you've got it. Do you really want to use it? Not necessarily. It's weird how that happens. So, I don't know. Is apathy the right word, perhaps?
Yeah, but we are using it. I think personally, we just keep going forward the way we are. And I agree with you, Nathan. To me, it's not a big deal. And just continue to go on the way we're going on because Earth is measured flat. People are either going to catch on or they're not. But everything is right out there for them.
That is the right word.
And I can definitely... Sorry, Nathan. I'm just saying I can definitely relate to what you said there, Nathan, because I've said it the last few weeks. I think I'm feeling very relaxed about it all. I have got myself wound up in the past, and like you've just pointed out, you want the silver bullet to go and destroy people and convert people. I feel really, really happy and relaxed that knowing what I know, and I can just tell people, well, it's measured flat, and that's the way it is. Every example you're going to give me, you will be pointing that out to me, and I think it's a great feeling.
Do you feel like? See, I don't feel like the ballers never wind me up. They never do. Flat earthers, supposed flat earthers, they're the ones that wind me up a little bit. I'm serious because they don't want to push the measurements. It's not even, you don't have to push it, just demonstrate it, and it's like everybody's shying away from it, pushing away from the silver bullet. Oh, here's the silver bullet. No, we don't want it.
I think
you keep it over there.
Yeah. I think there's a reason behind that, or in my opinion, the reason behind that is because when you first came to this subject, there's a feeling of inadequacy and stupidity attached to the non-recognition of flatness of the Earth. So like, how did I miss it? How stupid am I? Well, you get that feeling again if you've spent 5 years, 10 years, however long, arguing for Earth not being a ball and calling yourself a flat earther. And then we come along and go, it's not that serious. It was measured flat the whole time. And then you launch into, well, if Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every distance to horizon. And the person you're saying that to stops you and goes, you've just used 2 flat Earth measurements. What are you doing? Why continue in that discussion when you're already using measurements that can only be done on a flat Earth? You don't need to do anything else. Just stop. And they're like, no, but I want to show somebody else how smart I am. And I go, why? You know, in other words, it is the right word. I looked it up. Apathetic, showing a feeling. Read from that distance. Showing or feeling no interest, enthusiasm, or concern. Well, yeah, that's how I kind of feel about the anti-globe rhetoric that I used to spew myself. I'm like, I don't care. Believe you're on a ball. You will need flat Earth measurements to do it, but I don't care. I know it's flat, and maybe with me saying those words, so do you. Now, the reality is, when you talk about someone like Dave McKeegan or Simon Dan or Professor Dave, you say, well, they're spewing out their flat Earth measurements to suggest they're on a ball all day long. Yeah, but they haven't recognised it, have they? So when it comes to them having you point it out, they go, I don't want to use that measurement because you'll just welcome me to flat Earth. Well, yeah, because you're using a flat Earth prerequisite in the form of measurements to make your argument. Therefore, you haven't recognised that you're using flat Earth measurements, or you wouldn't be using them. So when, in this case, one deck goes to Dave McKeegan, tell me all about Eratosthenes. Tell me how he measured Earth. And Dave McKeegan turns around and goes, I don't want to do that. You'll welcome me to flat Earth. Yeah, that's the awful truth, isn't it? You don't want to be welcomed to flat Earth, but you're already using the flat Earth prerequisite elevation measurements to suggest that you're on a ball. Well, that's your bad, not mine. But it'll make them feel stupid. Same applies to flat earthers who've been arguing against a ball with flat Earth measurements that already proved their point to a point where they'd win. Well, beyond that, to the point where it wasn't ever an argument. Both sides had to agree on the prerequisite flat Earth that they were measuring to have the discussion. That will make them feel stupid.
Yeah, but hold on. You're talking about a guy like that. He doesn't want to be welcome to flat Earth. Then why are you using the measurements? Nathan, he has no choice. He has to use the measurements. So he's really stuck. Is that the rock and the hard place we talk about?
Yes.
Because he is stuck.
Yeah, it is the rock and the hard place. You either acknowledge how flat Earth must be for your prerequisite, I don't know, elevation description. If you're going to describe how you're at 30,000 feet, what, perpendicular to a plane of reference measured from sea level with an altimeter, altitude's a flat Earth prerequisite. It's a flat Earth measurement. You're going to use that measurement and then start talking about how the distance to the horizon is or isn't ball-shaped? No, because I'm going to stop you in your tracks and point out that you've already measured Earth flat. Why would you need to do anything else? And the answer is you don't. But when you recognise that, you realise there was never an argument to be having, but you've been having it. Again, makes you feel stupid, doesn't it?
This was one of my points. Well said, Nathan. I was just going to point out when you already said it slightly. A good point that we can make is we're no longer arguing about this matter. Yeah, going forward, it's not an argument. And like Neil pointed out, there's some people in the surveys who, I don't know what it is. I think we here have accepted that it isn't an argument, and we're not afraid to admit that because we know the discussion or the facts of the matter will still continue. Doesn't mean we have to end the show and all go home and bury our heads. It will still go on. The show will go on. Yeah, but I think a lot of people are scared to say, well, God, we've got to the end of this now, and it's so simple. It's just a measurement, and we can and explain how it's measured. That's just too simple. Yep. We can't. They're scared to do this.
Yeah, I don't understand that because, like you said, the show's still going to go on. There's still so much that you can talk about. There's people that, if they do come, you can educate them in measurements. Maybe they've never seen them before. But some people feel like just demonstrating how Earth is measured flat, ends everything, will end their show. What are they going to talk about? How are they going to be the superiority people? I don't know, man. It's silly to me. There's so much to talk about.
But back in the day when we believed Earth was flat, you had Validation Boy arguing for not telling people because then you get to quietly feel special without anybody knowing. Whereas if you just tell everybody, then no one's special because everybody gets to believe Earth is flat alongside you. Now the difference is completely stark compared to, well, don't tell people you believe in Earth being flat because then you're letting them have some secret information that they weren't aware was out there. And they don't need to have it. They'll just tell you you're wrong. Why bother? Don't waste your breath. Just know with a smug smile that you have got a belief in something they haven't. And it's special to you. Just leave it that way. Now it's like, well, it wasn't special to anybody because rather than being a belief I hold and you don't know about, if you're measuring Earth, you're using it flat too. So is everybody. And that bridge is getting quick built, if you ask me. That bridge between us talking about our belief in flat Earth and the normies measuring it flat in all instances.
Just going to say, Nathan, also, you know, over the years we've discussed, but going back to Black Swan arguments and things, we did rinse and repeat that. And sometimes you have to do that for it to get into people's heads and realise what you're saying and what you're pointing out. And I think that's very true now with what you're doing, Nathan, with the normie videos. And we're just talking about the actual measurements, getting normies to demonstrate it. And the more we do that, the more it will become apparent that everybody measures Earth flat. And that's what we're doing, and that's how we're going to go into the new year, even though it's not a new year in January.
Yes. That's my favourite part of current times in terms of the flat Earth debate, if you want to call it that. How do you get from it being a minority belief to being accepted by everybody as having always been the case? In between the mocking, the ridicule, the violent opposition, and then eventual acceptance. How do you get from one to the other? We need something on the other side of that seesaw that was already there to begin with. And this is that thing. The fact that Earth is always measured flat, without exception, requiring there be a build-up of mocking and ridiculing people like ourselves for believing Earth is flat, leaving our anti-flat Earth opponents the ability to use all the flat Earth measurements without anybody recognising that fact. And then them having to contradict themselves into their terminology when they say things like, well, sea level's bent. What? They got away with it for 10 years. Now we're at the point where we go, well, you can believe that, but that's violation of an axiomatic principle that's used in Earth measurements in all Earth circumstances when measuring Earth. Now, if you want to believe that you've got a violation of a principle that's used in its axiom to measure Earth, then you can believe that, but it won't change how Earth gets measured by everyone in all circumstances and without exception. Now, for Joe Normie, they can look at that, not the people who are ingrained into anti-globism or anti-flat earthism, formerly known as globe believers and flat earthers. For the normie, they can just look on the situation and go, well, okay, so you're talking about how it's measured. Let's have a little look. Oh, yeah, it is measured flat. That's the end of that discussion. There's no more debate because there wasn't ever one to begin with.
Yep, totally agree. And I think that going forward, is continuing with that is going to be that is going to be the way. I think, yeah, as well as everything else we've discussed so far.
It's going to come with great. It's going to come with great resistance.
I don't think it will.
People on our own side.
No, I don't think it will. The stupid factor is the arguing for it being not a ball and not recognising that arguing it for it not being a ball requires you measure it flat when you're calling yourself a flat earther. As long as you're trained to say Earth's not a ball because, you can use the flat Earth measurements without realising it and still call yourself a flat earther. Very well orchestrated in that regard. But for a normie, they don't have a vested interest. They don't care. Right? They just look at the situation and decide which one will make me feel more stupid. Learning how to contradict myself in terms or understanding how it's measured. And they're just going to assess it and go, well, it's measured flat, isn't it? And that will be the terms they use. Not, I always knew it was flat, as I've suggested previously. They'll just go, well, it's just measured flat. Because they'll look at how it's measured, see it's flat and say it. So it's not like they have to understand and appreciate that they need to demean the globe that they're not affirming when they look at the measurements and just say it like it is. They'll look at the measurements and go, well, it's just measured flat. With the same upward inflection that I just used. They're not going to feel the need to satisfy Simon Dan by saying, that's because it's a really big ball and we don't only measure Earth flat. They'll just go, well, it's just measured flat, with a shrug of the shoulders. Because what else do they need to say? They don't need to acknowledge anything. Normally, we'll just look at how it's measured and go, well, such as it's measured. Flat. Because it is.
I agree. I'm not talking about the normies. I'm talking about the people that have been in this arena with us since the beginning, since the start, since its inception. People that have argued, people that have debunked the globe. They're not going to receive this, with great joy and go forward. There's going to be resistance. People still want to unpack a globe.
Yeah,
before we even get into flat Earth.
And again, I'm apathetic to their cause. I don't care if you want to unpack your form of belief. You can spend all day fighting against Scientology if you're an ex-Scientologist, rather than getting on with your day. And that's your prerogative if you choose to do so. If you want to fight against the former guard of belief in terms of being on a globe, yeah, feel free. You can be an anti-glober. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to come up with some list of arguments against the ball that you can't use. Do what you like. That's entirely your prerogative. Me and Normie, that's the majority, by the way, will just look at it how it is and assess it for what it is and how it's measured. Flat. Now, they're not going to, as I said earlier, concern themselves with apologising for the very small majority of anti-flat earthers out there, or anti-globers as you're describing them, formerly known as flat earthers. No, you weren't. You were never flat earthers. You were anti-globers. All you wanted to do was brace against your former belief. Now you left that cult. And what are you going to be faced with? Well, a load of staunch advocates for that belief. What we call anti-flat earthers. The people who are saying, well, of course you're on a globe. Now, Normie, who's just come out of their indoctrination centre, known as school, will just use an Ipsit-Dixit fallacy and tell you that they're on a globe because they say so. Why? Well, because that's what they were trained to believe. But most people don't care. When they asked you 5 years ago, what difference does it make? Those are the people who will look at the measurements and go, who cares? It's just measured flat. Because what difference does it make? Well, none. It always was being measured flat. It always will be measured flat. And as you're assessing it in the here and now, it's measured flat. Earth is flat. Exactly as measured. So they're going to say, well, if they're being confronted by an anti-flat earther who tells them that it's because it's a really big ball and we don't only measure it flat, they're going to go, well, what difference does it make if it's just measured flat? Because it is. That's what you'll be facing if you're an anti-flat earther. Now, if you're an anti-glober and you're stuck in that perpetual cycle of arguing with anti-flat earthers about Earth not being a ball, stay there. Yeah, we're done with you. We can move on with our day. We can move on with our lives and just look at the measurements of Earth and assess them for what they are. And Normie will go with whatever is easiest, whatever requires the least mental processing. If it's easier to just look at the measurements and go, well, it's just flat, that's what they will do. They won't look at the measurements and start apologising for how globe-shaped it isn't. That requires far too much mental processing. They just won't do it. They'll just look at the measurements and say it like it is. Earth's flat because it's measured flat.
Yeah. Remember the mapping company guy with the trigs? He was exactly like that, Nathan, wasn't he? He was just showing us, how sea level's measured on these trig points and how it's all horizontal and level, really enjoying his job.
Talking
pointing out how
there was a short video I watched from some guy with FE in the title of his channel, and this guy is wittering on about trig points on the side of a church with all of the mounting fixtures that you can mount the equipment onto, and then around the corner from the same metal fixture with the benchmark number, there's an actual carved benchmark that looks like the table with the 3 lines coming down from it. A benchmark, right? We've covered them many times. Well, this guy looked at that, then looked at the lightning rod coming down to the ground and said that the trig point was a light socket or a plug socket, and talking about presumably Tartarian bullshit and Antiquitech. And I looked at it and I'm like, echoing Neil's sentiments from earlier, it's not the anti-flat earthers that annoy me anymore, it's the so-called flat earthers, when they're talking about a trig point, something that is used to measure Earth flat, as a socket. You're like, you dipshit. Really? Are you this stupid? Yeah, people around us are very stupid. And they put flat earth in their names, in their video titles. Very irritating.
Yeah, I mean, you just want him to talk about how that could be used to determine your height above sea level, obviously, with a FE in front of your name. You know what I mean?
That's why I think this video, Nathan, it's a normie going over it. So when a normie's confronted with it, you're going to be surprised at his reaction.
Neil wants me to cover this video that we've had posted in our internal chat. And I don't know, every time I hope that it's going to be something like described as a normie, when it's covering someone like Angels of Light, I know already this will inevitably have a ton of stuff that's anti-flat earth, old school. I don't know. We'll cover it anyway. I mean, it's about the 7th time someone's mentioned it.
Well, it's because the guy's reaction. Not the guy he's Angels of Light is discussing things with. It's the guy that's reviewing the video. He's the normie. And he is pleasantly surprised at the fact that, hey, it's just flat.
Okay. Not getting any sound out of it. Oh, yeah, here we go.
That you expect to laugh at. Just another debate between a flat earther and a globe defender. But then, the guy loads up real flight simulation software, like proper 3D Earth curvature, real dimensions, proper altitude profiles, and suddenly the whole conversation...
The narrator's already in a contradiction of terms. There is no globe altitude. What's he talking about? Happy New Year, Nathan and panel and family. 2026 could be disclosure year once they shelf the fake alien invasion. Thank you very much for the super chat. Who is it that's actually super chatted that? Look. Sorry, I've run out of space on my page. BMR006. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate the support.
Conversation takes a turn. Not a weird turn, a logical one. One of those moments where you stop, lean back, and go, hold up, wait a second. Because right out the gate, he asks the simplest question ever. Is the plane nose up or nose down right here?
Yeah, there you go. Now it's nose down.
Now, let me ask you the question. Is that plane nose down?
In relation to that, no.
Exactly. So nothing. So you just unproved yourself.
No, but he had to nose down.
Not nose down.
But he had to nose down to do that. Come on. In order for me to fly around the globe, I needed to nose down. So if I don't...
So...
Nick, you was right.
Yeah, within, what is it, 30 seconds, we've got Angels of Weiss talking about, if I'm on a globe, I've got to nose down.
Give him a chance.
Let me just get it out, Neil. Why? Why if we're on a globe? No. The altimeter, the measurement is from surface level. It's registering from sea level. And there's a dial that you have to dial in how high you are off sea level when you're at an airport to keep the whole system in check, to measure your altitude. When you fly parallel with the ground. There's various different flight levels for all the different planes to not hit each other. Yeah? It's not like the ones on the higher altitudes are flying a greater distance because we're on a ball. You don't have to mention the ball. They're just flying parallel with the ground at a flight level. So in terms of how they fly nose up with respect to horizontal. That's how it's measured. So it's nose up with respect to horizontal, therefore not nosing down on a ball. You don't need the latter part. You can stop at the point that you point out. The plane is in straight and level flight, measured from the horizontal, nose up with respect to it, in a measurement that can only reference a horizontal plane. It's a degree measurement. It's an angle. when they describe the pitch of the plane. Now, can you go and reference this in terms of the black box data? Yeah, we've done it. Yeah, we had all sorts of crappy responses in regards to it being, not raw data. Like, were you telling me that the axiomatic principle of straight and level flight measured from surface level, accurate to sea level, parallel with other planes at different flight levels, has any bearing on whether or not you say that the black box data's gone through an algorithm? Who gives a crap? The principle in terms of how Earth's measured is flat. Notice how that statement didn't involve anything to do with the ball. It didn't need it. But here we are, listening to Angels of Weiss talking about how we're not nosing down on a ball. Irritating. Don't need to say how we're not on a... Don't need to say how we're not on a ball when we're measuring Earth flat in the example.
I agree. It is very irritating, but he's setting them up. Just pay attention.
Don't nose down, this is what happens. But you said this is not how...
That's not what happens. Your little diagram there, you would lose the horizon to the bottom.
And the globe guy says, confidently, nose up. Obviously, easy, basic, no debate. But then the flat earther goes, okay, so as we fly over the curve,
As we fly over the curve? So the flat earther's talking about as we fly over a curve. Okay, so we're in straight and level flight parallel with the ground. Ground control to aircraft number 3. Please ascend. That's something that's calculated with a flat earth also. To flight level. And then they read out a number. Now that flight level is parallel with other flight levels. So they don't hit each other. So you don't have mid-air collisions. Now, this is axiomatically tied to a flat Earth measurement. So what have we got Dumbo Angels of Weiss describing? Well, if you fly around a curve, why? You're just opening the door to Dumbo anti-flat Earthers to show you how you're wrong about how a ball doesn't work, which is exactly what we've got on screen. Let's have a look at how it works on a ball, or how it doesn't work on a ball, so we can all argue about either it does or doesn't work on a ball. Very, very irritating.
do I need to nose down to stay at the same altitude?
What altitude, you dumb fuck? Look up what altitude means. Why are you asking if this flat earth measurement works on a ball? Why are you asking if you have to nose down? Altitude itself is a flat earth prerequisite measurement. So like always, this is a standard 10-year prior old school argument where we take a flat earth measurement and entirely ignore how flat earth must be measured. So we can ask ourselves, does altitude work on a ball? Why are you asking that? It's a flat earth measurement. Once you understand what altitude is, you stop asking yourself if it works on a fucking ball.
And suddenly the whole room shifts.
This is the correct dimensions of the globe. 24,901, 3959.
Where'd you get that from, Angels of Weiss? Did you not look up how the ball got measured? If you're going to launch into how a ball is created for descriptions of how altitude, a flat earth prerequisite measurement, and angle of attack works with respect to a ball, you'd need to know how the ball got created. Well, if you just went and looked at how a ball got measured, you'd realise that that was flat also. But what you want to do is take a flat earth measurement that creates a ball and ignore the flat earth measurement that created it. Then take an altitude measurement from a flat earth and ignore that it came from a flat earth. Then ask if that flat earth measurement worked on a ball that was created with flat earth measurements. Would it work or not? Notice how stupid it is when I summarise the dumbassery that we are having to experience. You've got a dozen different flat earth measurements being used and you're ignoring every single one of them to ask yourself if it can work on a ball. No, they're flat earth measurements.
All right. Now, does this instrument, which maintains rigidity in space, all right, does it align to gravity or does it maintain rigidity in space?
So we're asking about something that you've already explained remains rigid in space. So you've already defined what it does, but you're going to ask, does it adhere to gravity? Well, that would be contradicting it remaining rigid in space, wouldn't it? It's axiomatically tied to giving you the ability to reference the horizontal for your angle of the plane. But if it aligns to gravity, why are you even asking that? It defies the axiomatic measurement principle that it's being used for, so that you can ask if it works on a ball. It is absolutely pathetic in 2026 that we should be doing this.
In space, Hawaii, which one? which tells the planet's pitch, does it align to gravity vector or
No, it's not aligning to a gravity vector. It's utilising a gyroscopic action of remaining rigid in space to give you an angle with respect to horizontal. Or to put it another way, you're measuring Earth flat with it. Now, that's not me giving it as an argument. It's a statement of absolute fact that you've already summarised and then immediately whistled past. Why?
is it?
Yeah, it's going to align to gravity vector.
Okay.
Oh, so what a shock! Your dumbass opponent is ignoring the axiomatic principle of remaining rigid in space to give you a horizontal to give you a degree measurement from, and affirming your secondary position that you asked about. Oh, so it does align to gravity. What, defying the axiomatic principle that it's useful for? Yeah, of course he's going to say that because you've given him an option to do so. Why? Well, because you've whistled past the flat Earth measurement that you're using this tool for. It's used to give you an angle with respect to the horizontal so you can remain in level flight. All three of those statements are flat Earth measurements. When I point that out, am I going to ask about whether or not it's aligning to a non-force force that you can think of as a force that's got 5 different versions and the one that's a force was superseded 110 years ago? Are you going to do that? Because that seems stupid to me.
And
Also,
you said
Nathan,
we never need to know.
in this view, we're using orthographic, so we don't have perspective to create a horizon to reference either.
Shout out to Unitox Femu. He says, no swearing. Do as I say, not as I do, Unitox Femu.
Nose down, and the plane pilots had all admitted they never need to nose down, and it does.
Sorry, it's not that they need to admit anything. If you understand how their tools measure the surface level with respect to sea level to remain in straight and level flight when they're ascribed a flight level, you've got 4 different flat Earth measurements. So what, are you going to take those 4 flat Earth measurements and go and ask some dipshit pilot whether or not he's nosing down? Who cares what the pilot says? You've got all the measurements lined up before you went and asked him the question. But if that pilot's a globe believer, he's going to say, actually, we are remaining flight around the globe. Like bullshitting liars named Wolfie6020, a professional pilot who's more than happy to lie. And he did for 10 straight years. Why? Well, because rather than recognising the flat Earth prerequisites that you're using to measure Earth with to remain in straight and level flight when ascribed to flight level from ground control, you're asking the dumbass pilot who's a globe believer. Who cares what the pilot says? You've got measurements. You're already referring to them.
Doesn't show on the pitch data, because if you were nose down, it would show up in the
Pitch? What, like with respect to the horizontal plane of reference you need to give an angle? Yeah, you've already got a flat Earth measurement. Just whistle straight past it, I would say, dum-dum. Why not? Just ignore how flat this measurement is so you can ask whether or not it works on a ball. You're an idiot. I'm sick of it.
the pitch data, correct?
Yes, I get you. Yes, if you had the nose down, it would definitely show up in the pitch down.
Okay.
If you had to nose down, sorry, how would you measure whether or not you were nose down or not? Oh, you'd measure it with respect to a plane of reference, a flat Earth, whether or not you're nosing down towards the ground, surface level, measured from sea level, or nosing up. What about the measurement itself? Oh, the measurements with respect to horizontal, used with a tool you've described that remains rigid in space. To give you a horizontal, to ask this question about whether or not it works on a frickin' ball. It is idiotic. You're taking flat Earth measurements and asking ballers whether or not they work on a ball. It is stupid.
Okay, great. Okay, so welcome to Flat Earth. You're about to get pretty cooked here. I'm sorry, but all right, I'm going to take the plane off. It's going to fly.
Shit happens on the internet.
It's going to fly. I'm going to maintain a pressure altitude, so it's going to.
Sorry, you're gonna maintain a pressure altitude. That is to say, you're going to measure your height from surface level with respect to sea level, perpendicular to a plane. So you're going to take your flat Earth measurement, ignore the fact that you're already proving Earth's flat with this measurement, and start asking about whether or not it functions on a ball with a diagrammatical example of whether or not you've got a ball functional and capable with a flat Earth measurement you just whistle past. Can anybody understand why this is so irritating to me?
Yeah, it gets irritating, but it gets better in the end. He's working backwards, Nathan. I agree.
Hey, stop, pause.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because if you're flying around a curved surface...
Right, how are you going to measure your altitude with respect to sea level if you're flying around a curved surface? Do ground control tell you to ascend to a curved fucking level? No, you sound like a dumbass. You sound like somebody who's never studied anything to do with flight. Yeah, they're not ascribing anything to do with curve, but you're asking the question, and why is this normie dipshit asking the question? Because Angels of Weiss has given him the opportunity to. That's why.
Wouldn't you have to follow the curve, right? So
we've already got measurements that show we're not. We're measuring with respect to surface level. We've got an angle with respect to the horizontal. We've got a tool that remains rigid in space to give you the horizontal. We've got an altimeter that gives you your height perpendicular to a plane of reference. And unless you're all parallel with each other, you're going to crash into a different plane. So we've already got 6 rays from Sunday in terms of measurements of flat Earth. I know, let's ignore all of them and ask if this works around a ball.
So he takes the plane, moves it across the simulated Earth, and the moment he stops the camera, man, the plane is now facing away from the Earth. The horizon is dropping. Everything visually says you're climbing. Not maintaining level, climbing.
So you understand at a base level then that you need to maintain level. So just that last little bit that you said, unequivocally demonstrate that Earth is measured flat. But you've asked all this precursor shit that had no bearing on the measurement that you went to at the end of your statement. So to remain in level flight, Earth's flat. That's all you needed. But you've got wankers, fart sniffers, people like Angels of Light who want to seem intellectually superior to X-Man, sniffing their own farts, telling you how it don't work on a ball. So you can ask a whole bunch of stupid questions and then use a flat Earth measurement at the end. What, level flight? Listen to the words coming out of your own dumb mouth. Level flight! That's all you needed to know Earth's flat. You didn't recognise it, because you had a whole bunch of stupid questions given you by a wanker, sniffing his own farts to make himself sound smart. And you bought it, haven't you? Look how smart this flat earther is, you're telling yourself, as you start branching into this belief of a flat Earth. Meanwhile, every single one of the flat Earth prerequisites been used has been ignored by Angels of Weiss. Ignored completely, so far.
And he keeps asking, do I need to nose down now?
Why is he asking that? You've got measurements of what the plane does. It doesn't nose down. But here we are with Angels of Weiss asking a load of globe believers if we nose down. No, we're measuring our angle. To be nose down, you'd need to measure a flat Earth to ask the question. Who cares if you are or you aren't? Because the measurement itself proves a flat Earth. You're measuring with respect to horizontal to describe the degree up or down from horizontal. So just the measurement itself, regardless of whether you're ascending or descending with respect to a plane of reference, is a flat Earth prerequisite measurement from horizontal. But we're going to ask globers if we're nosing up or nosing down. Who cares? The measurement itself proves Earth's flat. Because it's measuring a flat Earth.
No, you don't need to nose down.
Who cares? The measurement itself proves what we are measuring. With respect to the horizontal, so we've got to have a horizontal to be with respect to then. Yes, Earth's measured flat in this example.
Planes fly 2 degrees nose up. And we're sitting there like, bruh.
Like, bruh, 2 degrees would require Earth be flat. But if we describe how we're nosing up, therefore we can't be on a globe. No, we're measuring Earth flat. To be any degree from horizontal.
What? How does that work?
It's just a measurement that you've ignored. You're asking how it works because you're ignoring the fact that the measurement itself proves what the surface is. Earth's flat based on the measurement, but you're saying if we measure Earth flat and ignore how flat we measured it, I can ask how that works. It does just work though, doesn't it? There's no question to be asked. I'm sick of this shit. We are not in a debate anymore. There is no debate here, dum-dum. Earth was measured flat, and you're going to take that flat Earth measurement and ask how it works. Well, it does work, doesn't it? That's how it's done. So why are you asking how it works? That's how it's done. There's no need to question how it bloody works.
Nathan, he thinks he's on a ball, Nathan. This guy thinks he's living on a globe. Give him some leeway.
No. If you are dumb, and you, like I did, I was previously dumb. I'm just not anymore. And I'm going to start looking down my nose at dumbos. What's that? Why are you using a flat earth measurement to ask about your stupid belief? Why are you doing that? I am going to pour scorn on you and call you a dumbass. Because that's how I now view you. Stupid. Now, is it to say that I used to do the same thing? Yeah, I did, and I'll acknowledge that. I've got an air of humility. You are just stupid, and you don't know it yet. So I'm going to damn well tell you, you stupid fool. You're asking how it works after looking at how it works and describing a flat earth prerequisite in the functionality of how it works so you can ask how it works. Does that not seem stupid to you? It is. Meanwhile, you've got half a dozen or a dozen different flat earth measurements that have all been described and ignored so far. With me spitting feathers getting very angry about how flat earth has already been measured 6 ways from Sunday to ask if we're on a bleeding ball or not, or how it would work in respect to a ball. Because he's got a belief in one, I don't care. You're ignoring every single flat earth measurement that's been laid on the table so far to ask how it works. It's just dumb.
And how many times do we ignore in the Isle of Man? We walk past it all the time. He has trying to reconcile how this is working on a globe. That's his mentality right now.
Either this instrument aligns to gravity.
No, it doesn't. You've already described how the instrument works, but because Angels of Weiss has asked if it will align to gravity, it doesn't. It remains rigid in space, or it wouldn't be useful. So no, why are you asking this question? That isn't how it functions. It's giving you a degree with respect to horizontal. That's what it's used for. But if we can just ignore how it's actually being practically applied, we can ask whether or not it aligns to frickin' gravity.
Stop. It's now nose up.
Correct, because you said we never need to nose down.
You need to keep the horizon at a certain level.
So I need to nose down.
So right now, the horizon cannot drift away from that line like it's doing.
So I need to nose down.
Well, you need to at least fly flat. You don't need to nose down, but you need to nose.
You at least need to fly flat. Now let's see if Angels of Dickhead actually acknowledges what this dickhead in his opposition has actually said to him. You at least need to fly flat. Yeah, we do. That's how it's measured. So when the globe-believing Dumbo says, well, we at least need to fly flat, yeah, that's because somewhere in his pea brain he recognises how it's actually done. Yeah? But I absolutely guarantee that fact will be whistled past.
Well, hang on a second, Hawaii. Do I need to nose down now?
So he's just had a concession. Well, we at least need to fly flat. It's not that you need to argue about whether or not you do that. We do fly in straight and level flight. These are facts. But as Angels of Weiss pointed out that the Glober has literally just said, well, we at least need to fly flat, if I could say it. No, he hasn't. He's asked him again if we're nosing down around a ball. Yeah, even his opposition knows Earth's measured flat, because that's how it's measured. But the game for the last 10 years was ignore all flat Earth measurements and ask how it works on a ball. So what's Angels of Dickhead doing? Ignoring the fact his opponents literally just said, well, it must be flat. Yeah, it is! That's how it's measured! Every single axiomatic principle that's been used thus far was flat.
How high? What's your elevation? What is?
Elevation is measured off surface level with respect to sea level. So what's your elevation? Your question requires a flat Earth be measured. You're going to measure perpendicular to a plane of reference. For height, that's what altitude is. But here we are, we'll have Angels of Dickhead ignore how flat this man has just asked for a measurement of. So we can talk about whether or not an altitude measurement with respect to a plane of reference, that's a flat Earth measurement, whether or not that works on a ball.
Plus it's on the screen.
What is your altitude?
24,000 feet.
From what, Dumbo? What, from this curved surface beneath you? No, you need a plane of reference. It's perpendicular to that plane. It's with respect to surface level. Measured from sea level. They're all flat Earth prerequisites. Without having a flat Earth to measure, you can't describe your altitude.
Yeah, that would have been the best time, Nathan. If he would have just laid it out the way you just laid it out, that would have been the perfect time. Maybe it would have clicked.
Nose down, yes or no? I told you.
From there?
Yes. Do I need to nose down?
You need to go to at least level. You need to go to the level, not no.
Need to nose down to level, second time's a charm. Will Angels of Dickhead pick up on it? Your niece need to be what? In straight and level flight, measuring a flat Earth with respect to the tools, axiomatic principle of remaining rigid in space to give you a horizontal to measure an angle from? That sort of you must be in level flight. Yeah. All we've done for 10 years is have both sides acknowledge flat Earth measurements for their position for or against a ball. Nobody's measuring a ball. We're only measuring Earth flat and then ignoring it.
Goes down, positive pitch, okay. But you need to reduce your pitch a little bit. You don't have to make it negative. You just need to reduce it.
A negative pitch, as in with respect to the horizontal, like a flat Earth prerequisite measurement. Yeah? If you're going to describe a degree up or down from horizontal, you're going to need a horizontal to have a degree described from. Earth is being measured flat and it's being ignored in every single instance. Old school dumbos who don't understand how measurements of Earth works. I'm sure Angels of Dickhead knows a lot about 9/11 though, doesn't he?
No, you don't. So, no. Hold on. Pitch is a signed value, brother.
Yeah, with respect to a flat plane of reference, that's what pitch is. Yeah? So you're going to now tell him all about how flat Earth you'll measure it so we can all ignore it from the globe side now rather than from the flat side. Let's see.
It is relative to the horizon.
So with respect to a horizontal plane of reference that you can acquire with the horizon, and if you don't see the horizon, how would you acquire that horizontal plane of reference? Oh, with a tool, like a gyroscope that gives you it in fixed space. Oh yeah, that's flat Earth measurement, isn't it? Yeah, but now the globe is using the flat Earth measurement that Angels of Weist, the so-called flat earther, has whistled past. Now the globe gets to whistle past it too, doesn't he?
If it's positive, your nose up. If it's negative, your nose down. But if it's zero, it is perpendicular to the gravity vector.
Sorry, perpendicular to a gravity vector? Sorry, do you not know what perpendicular means? But of course, he's been given this from Angels of Dickhead. Perpendicular to a gravity vector? No, you get to be perpendicular to a plane of reference. It's an axiomatic principle when in level flight. That you're parallel to the ground with respect to surface level and sea level. Not gravity. Not a 110-year out-of-date notion that all things tend towards the ground. Not true. Not a bent pseudo-Riemannian geometry invented by an Einsteinian conceptual medium that a man came up with. Not true either. No, you've just got a tool that's already been described as remaining fixed in space. That's what it does. But what, it's perpendicular to a gravity vector? No, it's rigid in space. That's what makes it useful, so you can describe a degree from it. That's an angle. You think perpendicular to a gravity vector is giving you an angle? No, you don't get angles from curves. If you're perpendicular to a gravity vector in a bullshit ball that's been made with flat Earth measurements, then you're not creating angles, you dumbass. But that's what you get when you give the opponent the opportunity to beg the question of a ball after ignoring every single flat Earth measurement that's been laid on the table.
Planes fly with the 2 degrees nose up always, and you said we never need to nose down. I can show you the pitch data to confirm this. Now, in order...
2 degrees nose up? What, with respect to horizontal? Yeah, to describe that degree, you're measuring Earth flat, though, aren't you? You could end it here, but no, let's keep arguing.
For me to fly around this globe, this is now the view from reference frame the Earth, okay?
So, no, there was only one reference frame. It was a parallel eye level, surface level, ground level, sea level. Those were your frames of reference. There is no globe reference. But Dumbo Dickhead here is giving the opponent the opportunity to assume that there's a global reference. There isn't. There's only surface level and sea level. That's what we use.
So now we're gonna. Okay, so it's just. I'm just gonna fly the plane now. I'm gonna resume.
And can you zoom out?
Yes. Let me know when I need to nose down. Here's the pitch.
Okay.
What's happening?
Is it maintaining a constant altitude?
Yes.
What, like from measured sea level, like a constant altitude perpendicular to a plane of reference, measured with an altimeter off the surface level with respect to sea level? That sort of flat Earth prerequisite measurement that you're appealing to as a baller and asking a so-called flat earther about? You're all idiots, as far as I am concerned at this point. Everybody in this discussion. They're all idiots.
So you're good. You're flying at a constant altitude.
So if you're flying at a constant altitude, then Earth is flat. But why would I put that as an argument? That's a fact. That is how planes fly.
That's good, is it?
Yeah, I mean, you're flying at a constant altitude.
So, welcome to Flat Earth. You're flying at a constant altitude, measured perpendicular to a plane of reference, measured from sea level, with parallel being the primary use to stop the planes crashing into each other. So we're already at the point where you could just welcome this dickhead to Flat Earth. Willie? Let's have a listen.
Is that how a plane flies?
No, we're going to ask him if that's how a plane flies. No, we know how planes fly. Don't need to ask this dickhead. Just welcome him to Flat Earth.
Noses up.
Nathan, I've had experiences like this with some people I know, and I've not seen this, but I can see the Glober guy, like a penny starting to drop because he's realising that as much as we're going over it and criticising it, but I think he's starting to realise that the Earth must be flat and it's not a globe. The penny's starting to drop, I think.
It is.
I'm not a pilot, but they probably nose up a little bit.
2 degrees. Do I need to nose down to get to 2 degrees?
Oh, guys.
Why?
You need to lower your pitch some.
Why are you asking this stupid question? We already know that you fly 2 degrees up with respect to the horizontal. And if you haven't got a horizon to establish that you nose up, you'll use a tool that remains rigid in space. That's called a gyroscope. Now, this isn't an argument. These are facts. Now, you can either start spitting these facts at people, or you can start utilising them, whistling past how flat Earth must be to use them, and then asking if it works on a ball. Yeah, that's what we've been doing for the last 10 years. Stop doing it. Just stop when you get to a flat Earth measurement. And that's all of them. Any measurement of Earth is going to be flat. There are no exceptions. That's how Earth is measured. If it wasn't, people would be crashing planes into each other. That's what would happen. They'd be crashing it into the ground. Now, asking whether or not we nose down is stupid. We don't. We've already got the measurements. You don't need to be asking this person across who's self-confessed not a pilot. So who gives a shit what he thinks? We already have the measurements. We already know how planes work. We already know how they measure Earth. It's flat.
So it's not going to be nose down.
Correct? So I need to nose down. I need to do this. I need to do
That's
this.
still not nose down. That's flat.
That's not no. Hang on a second.
So here we go again. Third time's a charm. The guy's telling you we just need to fly flat. What, in straight and level flight? Yeah, we do. Yeah, that is how planes fly. That's the command they're given from ground control when they're told to ascend to a certain flight level. And they have to get permission to deviate from it. So we already know Earth's flat. That's how it's being measured.
I was here and I went from here. Did I just nose down?
No.
Why are you asking this?
No, you did reduce your pitch. You didn't.
They don't fly at 0 degrees. They fly 2 degrees nose up.
But to have a 0 degrees, you need a horizontal plane of reference to remain parallel with. You acquire it from a gyroscope that remains rigid in space. That's how you get an angle measurement. That's 3 different flat Earth measurements. Let's ignore all of them, I would say.
Then keep it at 2 degrees, bro. Jeez.
I'll keep it at 2 degrees. Now we're going to resume.
Then he fast-forwards the simulation to real flight speed, 500 miles per hour, sped up 150 times.
500 miles per hour, like a distance in miles per hour that's ascribed to a speed. So you're going to need horizontal distance measurement in linear form for all of your described distances to give a speed to them. So we're going to use another flat Earth prerequisite in the form of distance in miles, and then ascribe a speed to it in miles per hour, and ignore how flat Earth must be for this measurement to function. And then ask about whether or not it works in a ball simulation. This is idiotic, isn't it?
Yes.
Times. And this is where things go nuts. As the plane moves across the curved model...
Right, why are we looking at how it moves across a curved model? We've already established that it's in straight and level flight, parallel with surface level, measured with an altimeter with respect to sea level. We already know how it's measured. But I know, let's ignore how flat Earth is measured and plug in these flat Earth prerequisite measurements into a simulation and ask if it works on a ball or not. It doesn't. But you already knew that if you knew how the measurements worked. I know, let's whistle past every single one of them so we can argue about whether or not it's a ball.
The nose slowly creeps upward relative to the horizon. not down, up. And the flat earther goes, bro, if I never nose down, how am I keeping altitude? The Earth...
So keeping a flat Earth prerequisite measurement from surface level, how am I keeping altitude? So let's ask, how am I keeping altitude? You are though, aren't you? Why not just look at what altitude is? It's a measurement that keeps the plane parallel to surface level. That's what altitude is. It's what it's used for. The ground control call out a certain height and you have to adhere to it. So these aren't things that are questionable by dickheads on debate panels. They're just how planes fly. They're measuring Earth flat in all instances. So let's ask questions about whether or not it works. Why? Planes are in the air already. They're flying. They're flying and measuring Earth. It is flat. That's what every single measurement is.
Earth is falling away beneath me.
Why are you asking that? It isn't. You just described a degree with respect to horizontal. You just described your altitude.
And the globe guy starts stumbling. Gravity vectors, trim, local horizontal, rigidity in space, trying to make it fit. But nothing actually matches what's happening on the screen. Because the attitude indicator?
Sorry, attitude as in how high you are? What, measured off surface level, parallel, perpendicular? Yeah, you've already got a flat Earth prerequisite measurement, but you're going to start talking about whether or not the baller stumbles around making it work on a ball. Who cares if it works on a ball? It is a flat Earth measurement. You didn't need to have this discussion.
The pitch data? It
is a flat Earth measurement.
Never shows downward pitch.
Sorry, it's a flat Earth measurement, though. So who cares what it shows, up or down? I already covered this.
Not once. And the entire Vans family, we're watching this unfold. And there's a moment we all look at each other like, wait, he actually has a point.
But no, he doesn't have a point. He's whistled past every single flat Earth measurement and asked you, a ball believer, if a flat Earth measurement can work on a ball or not. And when you go, oh, this flat Earth measurement can't work on a ball. Like, hello, Dumbo, it was already a flat Earth measurement.
Then comes the knockout. He secretly...
No, the knockout is that you measured Earth flat 6 ways from Sunday. There didn't need to be a knockout, but it's because Angels of Weiss wants to sniff his own farts and seem intellectually superior to the man across him on this debate table. That's all that's really happening here.
Yeah, I agree, Nathan.
Switches the system to a flat Earth model without telling the globe guy.
Horizontal
gravity?
Horizon measurements.
To gravity. Local horizontal to gravity. Okay, great. Local horizontal to gravity. Let's resume it.
So my question to you, when you set it to 2 degrees, why is it not staying at 2 degrees?
Because...
So 2 degrees as in a measurement with respect to a horizontal plane of reference that you acquire parallel with a tool that is rigid in space. You know, that's really interesting because that's how it's done. It's not like it's debatable. That is how it is done. Earth is being measured flat in this question. Why is it a question? I don't know. It seems really stupid to me that we'd question it when the measurement is what it is, a flat Earth measurement.
I'm not nosing down, and you said we don't need to nose down, just like the pilot said. Welcome to Flat Earth, Jorge. I'm going to reset it now. We're going to reset. Watch this. Just pay attention. This is your globe. This is the correct dimensions of the globe. I'm going to now fly the plane.
Here's where I
again,
trick him and switch it to a flat Earth model.
I'm going to...
You don't need to trick him, right? You've got altitude measurements with feet attached to them in the description. Now, if you were stupid, you feel like, what? You can have your audience say, oh, well, you just tricked him. Yeah, you had to do that because you wanted to argue against a ball. So you could seem smart. Look, I got a gotcha on him. Aren't I clever? I switched the program from being ball-shaped to flat. Sorry, it was a flat Earth measurement that you inputted in all instances, though, wasn't it? You had your feet off surface level. Sea level was what was used with an altimeter. The degree that you've been arguing about the entire time was with respect to horizontal, though, wasn't it? You don't need to be fart sniffing here, Angels of Weiss. Why are you doing this? Just point out how the measurement works. You see this feet measurement? That's off sea level. It's perpendicular to it. It's a flat Earth prerequisite measurement. What's that? Should we see if it works flat or globe? No. It is ipso facto flat. That's what the measurement is. It's a measurement from the surface level.
Speed up the timer. Okay, I'm going to set a pressure level like before. Speed up the timer to 150 times speed. Right?
Yes.
And now the plane is flying. Okay? And it's even drawing the pitch data. Okay? Now, as the plane is flying, does it need to nose down on the...
So why are you asking, does it need to? We already know that the measurement of pitch requires a flat Earth. So you take the flat Earth measurement, the angle with respect to horizontal, a prerequisite flat Earth measurement, and then ask if it is or isn't doing something. Who gives the tiniest of shits? The measurement itself proves what Earth is. So you don't need to ask this question. Just like sniffing your own farts, don't you, Angels of Weiss?
Yeah.
A flat surface.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't need to ask the question because he knows himself that what the answer is.
Is this how the plane... Wait, before you said the plane always maintains 2 degrees. Is this maintaining 2 degrees right now?
It looks like a yes.
Okay, that's a flat Earth. Welcome to flat Earth.
Oh.
Keeps the same altitude, same orientation, and suddenly the plane flies perfectly.
No, it was flying perfectly before this fucktard put it into a model. It was already in the air. You didn't need Angels of Dickhead to say, oh, look, now it works perfectly. It already worked. Do you not understand? We've already got planes in the air.
2 degrees nose up.
Yeah, that's what the planes were doing anyway. If Angels of Weiss was never born, the planes would still be doing that. It didn't need his affirmation.
Level. Stable.
Yeah, level. Like level flight. Yeah, that was already the case at the beginning of the discussion, though, wasn't it?
Exactly how pilots describe real flight. He turned...
Not how pilots describe it. That's how it is measured. You don't need the Dumbo pilot to affirm it. That's what it is.
To him and says, "Welcome to flat Earth, Jorge."
Go to your globe line.
So you said...
Flat the equator.
All right.
Maintaining 2 degrees. Maintaining 2 degrees.
Oh, I need
A flat Earth measurement.
to nose down for that, boy.
Down, what, perpendicular to a plane of reference and then an angle with respect to that parallel. That's a flat Earth measurement also. Just the word down is enough to prove Earth's being measured flat. To be going down, you need a horizontal plane of reference to describe that with.
Trim.
What you just said.
Oh, trim.
Wait a minute.
Hang on, he just said trim. Hey, excuse me.
That's wild.
Hey, when they trim the plane, they trim it to fly in the exact same orientation. Did you know that?
I'll take your word for it.
Welcome to flat Earth.
Well, that was the shittiest connection to a flat Earth ever. When they trim the plane, every measurement that he's used so far is a flat Earth measurement, and he uses trim. What a crap way to draw your conclusion.
Yeah, agreed.
So what do you have to say to that, Jorge?
Bro, that line, that hit like a truck, because the reaction said everything. The confusion, the hesitation, that moment where the logic kind of corners you.
Meanwhile, over here on Flat Earth Debate, there is no confusion, there is no train wreck, there is no suddenly I don't quite understand what's going on. Both sides used Flat Earth measurements in every point along this discussion path. So why is there any confusion? If it was pointed out that to have the discussion, you'd need a flat Earth to be measured for the altitude, for the pitch, for the plane of reference that you're describing down from, everything that's been used so far is a flat Earth prerequisite measurement. If that was pointed out, nobody would be confused.
That's correct, and you don't need logic. I don't know what he's talking about with logic.
It's measurements.
It just flies flat.
Look, we're not claiming the Earth is flat.
No, it's measured flat. It absolutely unequivocally is flat. It's not a claim, it's how it got measured on both sides of this discussion. So it's not a claim, it's a statement of absolute fact based on the measurements being used by everybody here.
We're not planting a flag anywhere. But when someone uses real math, real dimensions, real pitch data...
What, you mean measurements of a flat Earth?
And you watch the plane visually drift nose up on a curved Earth.
Right, you don't watch anything drift nose up on a curved Earth. Up is with respect to a parallel plane of reference. The height measurements with respect to a plane of reference. The degree that you describe it deviating from the curve requires a horizontal plane of reference. Everything that you've said is an acceptance, tacit though it may be, of how flat Earth can only be measured to have this discussion.
And you watch it behave perfectly on a flat plane.
It just does that. That's how it's been measured. It's not like you need to assess whether or not it'll behave perfectly or not. You've already got planes! They're already flying!
You can't help but raise an eyebrow. You can't blame anyone for asking questions, and you definitely can't deny when something actually makes sense. And in this video, the flat earther made sense. A lot of sense. And that's why we're reacting.
No, this guy just wants to be like like Angels of Weiss. You want to seem intellectually superior to your audience. Like pretend that you followed along with this stupid nonsense. Like oh, right, look, I understand the logic and form of this discussion that's just took place. No, you're just as dumb as Angels of Weiss and his opponent, because you whistle past every single flat Earth measurement being used to ask if it logically made sense on a flat Earth. Now you want to profess to your audience how smart you are for following along. Yeah, you're not. I see you as just as dumb as everybody else on the panel, arguing about this stuff with flat Earth measurements being the basis for their argument, without acknowledgement of any of the flat Earth measurements that are being used and required. That makes you all stupid. Ged.
Just saying he went on to say, but we're not saying the Earth's flat. When he's just, as you know, aside all the criticism we've given, he just wants the plane fly over a flat horizontal plane. But we're not saying it's flat.
Yeah, but this is what happens, and this is what Nathan's getting stressed about. Because it wasn't presented the way it should have been presented, stop whistling past all these freaking flat earth prerequisites, lay it down right in the beginning, and perhaps the guy would say, you know what, Earth is flat. He wouldn't say, well, we're not saying Earth is flat.
Yeah, you wouldn't have an argument then, Neil.
Not because we choose sides, but because logic is logic.
This isn't a logical discussion. It's no logic involved when you're talking about a plane measuring its height off surface level. That's not logic that keeps the plane from crashing into another one. It's parallel flight levels measured from surface level with respect to sea level, with horizontal being the way you accurately measure the pitch of the plane in this discussion. Now, it's not an argument. It's been made into one. In reality, we just measure Earth flat. There's no logic for you to sniff your own farts and pretend that you're so intellectually superior to your audience for following along the logical consistency. There isn't one. There's just 6 ways from Sunday when you measure Earth flat, and then ignore it so you can pretend that there's some logical inference being drawn. There isn't. There's just a dumbass ignoring how flat Earth got measured in every instance.
And when it lands clean, we feel it.
Right, when it lands, you'll be taking trig measurements, won't you? You'll be using a little triangle to calculate your descent path. That's another flat Earth measurement that requires perpendicularity for height measurements, parallel for the eye level, for their trig calculations to bring in a descent with respect to the plane of reference that they're flying over in a flight level. All of which are measurements. This isn't a logical consistency, you dumbass.
Now for the outro. Buckle up. Because here's the thing. The dual torus hyperrealm, or whatever conspiracy you're...
What? Dual torus hyperrealm? Oh my god, you're just a wanker, aren't you? Yeah. You want to use protracted words to sound smart. Dual torus? Hello, wanker.
Your uncle is sending you on WhatsApp. There's something powerful about watching real arguments, real logic.
It's not logic, it is measurements. And the fact that these dickheads use those measurements to ignore them and have an argument that you think is seated in logic just shows how dumb you are. You couldn't keep up with the flat Earth measurements being used on both sides either. You thought there was a logical consistency being offered. So now you can sniff your own farts and pretend how smart you are. Talking about your Taurus. What a bunch of shite.
And real simulations collide.
Real simulations? So do you think we need real simulations? There's planes already in the fucking air! You dumbo!
No shouting. No insults.
I will do whatever the damn well please. You are a dumbass. I will shout at you and call you a dumbass. Now, you might hear this and go, oh, hold on a second, I don't feel all intellectually superior. Actually, I feel quite stupid for not recognising how flat Earth got measured in every instance. Now I've got somebody with a bald head shouting at me. Yeah, that's me. My name's Nathan Oakley. I'm calling you a retard. That's right. You're not intellectually superior. You're not recognizing logical consistency. You're ignoring measurements. That's what you're actually doing. Feel dumb, because you are.
Just explain this. And half the time, no.
Do I need to explain a flight? It's just in the air already. You think it needs an argument? No. No, they're definitely already in the air, flying parallel to surface level. That's already happening. It's not a debate. It's not a discussion. It's not a logical consistency. But to not crash, they measure Earth flat. You have ignored every single one of those measurements presented from both dumbass anti-flat Earth side and dumbass anti-globe side. That's what you've actually done.
Nobody can. So to the Vans family, to the thinkers, to the skeptics, to the people who love asking, but does it actually make sense?
Right, does it make sense? You've already got planes in level flight! Why are you asking if it makes sense? Are you the kind of person that looks up at a plane and goes, does that make sense? Is that the kind of person you are? Because when I break it down like that, I hope you feel stupid. Because it is stupid. To look at a plane and go, does that make sense? It's just in the air, flying with respect to the surface level. They've been told to ascend to a certain flight level, and then they've got instrumentation that keeps them there, measuring Earth flat as they do so.
This one was for you. If you want more breakdowns like this, more logic tests, more reactions,
then go to this dumbass and you'll be fooled into thinking that flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurements and pitch data that require Earth be measured flat in the first instance as a prerequisite is actually convertible into a logical consistency. If you want to sniff your own farts and feel intellectually superior, then tune into this dickhead. If you want to know how Earth got measured in all respects in this discussion, then come here. You can listen to me spitting feathers about dumbasses who think there's a logical consistency on offer. There's not. There's only flat Earth measurements on the table, it's just both sides are ignoring them.
more moments where your brain does that little click sound, hit follow, stay tuned.
Sorry, that little click sound, what you're calling a little click sound, I describe as you sniffing your own farts. You think it's your brain going click, click, click. How smart am I? No. No, you thought you were smart, but you weren't. You're actually a dumbass who ignored every single flat Earth prerequisite measurement that was used in the discussion and ignored by them also. So that makes you just as dumb as them. That clicking sound is cogs, slowly grinding to a halt in your dumbass brain. That's what it actually is. Give him 10 million subscribers.
And keep your mind open. Because whether the Earth...
Do we need an open mind? There's a plane going past. Keep an open mind. No, they've already figured out how to keep it from crashing into the ground, though, haven't they? Why do you need to keep an open mind about a plane flying? It does what it does, and when you describe how it does it, it measures Earth flat. That's what you do if you are on a plane. What's that? Keep an open mind about it? No, there's no need. We've had planes for quite a while.
Curves or stays flat, we're here...
No, it's measured flat.
Here for the truth, the laughs, and the madness in between.
No. There is only the madness instilled in this discussion by dumbasses who want to sniff their own farts and feel smart. Meanwhile, planes are still flying with respect to the horizontal plane of reference. They measure their degree for pitch from. They still remain in level flight, whether or not you think you're superior, by telling your audience to like and subscribe to you so you can have the click of your brain grinding to a halt. Look, dumbass, Earth was measured flat for the plane to be in level flight. That's all you needed to know. You just didn't recognize it because you weren't smart enough.
Vans family, we're out. Picture this.
Done. Right, comments.
It's not that he wasn't smart enough. Angels of Weiss did not bring it to his attention because he wanted to just be the smart guy and unpack the globe first. He worked backwards to me.
This was not a normie measuring Earth flat, right? This is not what I want, right?
No, the guy was a normal guy going over a video. I didn't say he was a normie measuring Earth flat.
Yeah,
but I understand your disdain, though, Nathan. I do.
Well, I don't want disdain. What I want to do, this is destroying the bridge I'm trying to build, right? Whoever keeps coming up with these videos, please can you stop doing it? right? We're destroying a bridge and reintroducing this discussion in circular form where we go round and round using flat earth measurements to ask if we're on a ball or not, and then assess whether or not Normie likes it. Who gives a shit what this dickhead, he's got a good mic, he's got an SM7B, but what he thinks about it is irrelevant. I've said this from our own side's perspective as well. It is irrelevant whether Angels of Weiss gets this or not, because the plane's still in level flight, isn't it? Who gives a crap? If some Dumbo anti-glober says, well, look, welcome to flat earth, who cares? The plane's still flying and will continue to do so, and its measurements will remain the same. It references a flat plane to fly. That's it. There is no discussion here.
I would have liked to hear his response to something like that. Like if he would have just broke it down every time the flat earth was used and pointed out to the guy, would he even have had to gone through the whole video?
No.
I don't think so.
No, he got to about the first point where you measure Earth flat with the pitch and gone, well, we need Earth to be flat to measure the degree. Without it being flat, we don't have a degree to describe. Or if he got to the altitude, well, without an altitude measured perpendicular to a plane of reference, we don't have an altitude to describe. We need a surface level. Even in a dumbass ball belief, you still need eye level and surface level to remain parallel. Oh, what do you know? It's on screen right now. Earth is always, and without exception, measured flat. Even when you create the ball to believe in, you still require a surface level to measure. That's how it was created. The ball, that is. Your dumbass ball that you believed in up until the point that I point out. Every measurement of Earth is flat. There are no exceptions to that fact. Even when you want to believe in a ball, you still measure Earth flat to believe in it.
Right, and here's the thing. It left the guy uncertain. He wasn't certain that it was flat. He was questioning it. And it took so long to get to that point. That's why I think destructing the globe first, like a lot of people think they need to do, I agree. Just show them how it's measured flat right from the beginning throughout the whole thing. So there's no confusion at the end. There's no, well, it could be flat. It could be a globe. Nah, it's flat. Here's the measurements. That's it.
Just get me pilot data, not anti-flat Earth pilot data. Like, don't get me a scumbag, disingenuous, belonging in hell liar like Wolfie6020, who lied about nosing down around a globe for 8 straight years. Don't get me a scumbag liar like Wolfie6020. Just get me a pilot who describes how they actually utilise a gyroscope. That's what I want. Videos of pilots in this instance would have been far better as a choice of video to cover. So the pilot describes how he's remaining parallel to the surface level, how he maintains level flight as instructed to do so from ground control. That's what I'd like to cover, because that's just some guy not making apologetics for how ball-shaped it isn't, which is all Angels of Dickhead has done through this entire video. I'd rather have the pilot say, well, we remain nose up with respect to horizontal, we do it with a gyroscope. We're measuring our height off the sea level. Here's my altimeter. That's what I want to cover, because then we've just got some normie guy describing how he actually measures Earth. That's what I want to cover. Not dickheads arguing and saying, oh, I'm not a pilot, but he's got to remain level. So long as he remains level. It's like, my God, is this what we've got to deal with? Any other comments?
Yeah, that's starting on the back foot. I agree. I don't know. I must have been half asleep when I listened to it this morning.
It's more disappointing because Angels of Weiss has already been here, so he knows what's what. And he chose the path he's on.
It's got old school versions of argumentation, and it's not necessary. They shouldn't be arguing in this way anymore, right? We're moving into 2026. We've figured out what the game was, and they're now playing into the hands even when it's been pointed out to you. If you keep arguing for how it's not a ball, they've won. Before you've even started the discussion, they've already won. That's what is needed to be done to keep it in an arena where we argue whether or not we're on a ball. And to do so, you have to ignore flat Earth measurements to do so. You have to take the altimeter, you have to take the pitch data and say, well, let's just whistle past the fact that this requires a flat Earth in the first instance and ask if it works on a ball or not. Why? It's 2026. Just know how they measure Earth. And then just point out how it's measured. Flat. Any comments from Discord? Seriously? Nobody's got an opinion from Discord?
Come in, Discord. I know we put you to sleep.
Don't think me spitting feathers is going to put anybody to sleep, Neil.
No, not you, the video. That's when they woke up, when you spoke. But listening to them, yeah, I retract.
Am I roboting or am I coming in okay?
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Coming in okay.
Oh, no, I took a couple weeks off at Discord for the holidays and stuff. But when you guys started playing this video, I'm like, I thought you guys weren't doing this anymore. I just came in like halfway through.
Yeah, I agree.
And saw that it was Angels of Vice or whatever his name is. It's funny. But yeah, he used to hang out here. He should know better, but he doesn't.
Yeah,
it was
my
Adam
fault.
Price who recommended the video, so he will be punished appropriately, rest assured.
Who recommended it?
Mr. Adam Price.
No. Don't, I did.
I did.
I seen it and I thought it was good. I was half asleep. Next time I'll be FED'd up before I view a video.
The thing is, algorithmically, we are not presented with normie videos about celestial navigation, measuring trig points, using benchmarks in Ordnance Survey, mapping, surveying, rise over run. None of those things are algorithmically presented to us. They're very much kept separate. You've got to go out and look for them. And that's what I encourage you all do. If you want to cover a video, don't present what you've been spoon-fed from the algorithm. That's what this is.
Yeah, but I will say this, Nathan. This video that you've done is going to go out. I've shared it. Other people shared it. It will go out, and it will bring back results.
If you say so. I think we're far better off. For me, the most influential video we did this year, 2025, was the one with the guy on the mapping channel, where he was talking about measuring trig points. Because while he had a big smile on his face, he described in no uncertain terms his measurement of Earth being flat. He made no apologies for it. He made no disclaimers about it. He just measured Earth flat and showed you how he did it. That's what we should be covering.
Yeah, but the whole time he thinks he's on a ball.
He didn't say that, though, did he?
No, Jim did. Yeah, but this is important because people, they're still going to go back. They're stuck in old school. Like we said this morning, like one dick said, they're afraid. They're afraid that if they go forward with this like we are, it's going to be an end of their Discord server. It's going to be the end of their show.
Still trying to justify it, Nathan. Neil won't stop trying to justify his dreadful selection of video.
You've done the same. What are you doing, Central Goat? The amount of dross that you've presented. Come on. Seriously. Pot.
No.
Kettle.
I agree that it's a bad video, but it can be good because people need to learn the proper rhetoric today. You don't have to go take them on a globe to take them off the globe so they can question when they're back on the globe if it works.
Yeah, and
Can you validate that
so,
claim, Nathan, of dross with an example?
I can't bring one out now. I'm sure you have presented plenty of videos like this, have you not?
It's a baseless assertion, then.
It is a baseless assertion, you're right.
Oh, boy.
Look, I'm allowed to use Ipsy Dixit, you're not.
That's the host fallacy.
Yes, I'm allowed to do as I say, not as I do. Right, anybody else from Discord got any comments on what we've covered today? There's some old names and some new names in there. Surely someone's got an opinion. If not, I'm going to round out this live show. In that case, anybody got any well-wishings that they want to pass on in regards to us now moving into the new year? On the calendar, at least.
Happy New Year to everyone. May God richly bless you with the knowledge of his son.
May God...
Don't forget to write 2026 on your checks.
Indeedy.
What checks? You got checks coming?
This is the year that they will respect the plane of reference.
You know, people that take my money.
Hold on, I heard refracted. Repeat that, refracted.
I was just saying this will be the year they respect the plane of reference.
Yes.
Well, I'm hoping so. And this video going out with people like me, I thought it was a pretty good video till I heard Nathan rail against it. And he's 100% right as I listen back. Maybe they'll comprehend and just how Earth is measured, and that's all we need.
The guy who just spoke, refracted curvature, just for the audience's benefit, is ground zero in terms of our modern rhetoric, right? A recognition that you can, as John did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, give their opponent every single concession ever in regards to their belief in a globe, because every single point that they ever raise will require Earth be measured flat. Now, I hope, refracted, I'm asking you directly, not rhetorically, that you're proud. You should have a sense of pride in this regard, because you are the origin of this particular evolution in the discussion.
A little bit. I wish the flat earthers would accept a little bit more, but that's kind of shocking to me. Everyone's resisting it.
Yeah, that's what I said this morning. It's not even the ballers anymore. It's the flat earthers that stress me.
Yeah, and you summarised it earlier, Neil, when they will inevitably feel a certain sense of redundancy if they can't lord it over other flat earthers because they know better and have studied how Earth is not a ball and understand the intricacies of it and can unpack it. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to whistle past quite a few different flat Earth measurements to do so, but let's not highlight that is the attitude that we've held against us in months gone by. Yeah, stop pointing out that I need a flat Earth for measuring this. I need to get to the point where I dismantle a ball. So yeah, I'm going to have to beg the question of a flat Earth that's being measured to make that assumption. And then I'm going to take that assumption apart by showing how it doesn't work. Stop pointing out that I measured Earth flat along the way. It's irritating me. That's what we got over the last year, didn't we?
Yeah, one deck received a brunt of it one time from Brian. I do remember that. And he was just pointing out that you missed that flat Earth there. You know, just like we always did. And he got very upset about it. That's when it really started to click that people don't want this. They want their own superiority.
Right, last call. Anyone from Discord want to wish any well-beings to people over the new year? If not, I'm going to round out.
Yeah, just to second what Refractor Kirch said, this will be the year that we ensure that the horizontal plane of reference gets its utmost respect.
I'm kind of indifferent, if I'm honest. I mean, if it does or it doesn't. It's back to me screaming and spitting feathers about the plane. You know, whether or not our anti-flat Earth brethren or anti-globe brethren recognise the plane of reference that's being utilised, will that alter how the plane works? No, it definitely won't. The plane will still be in level flight, regardless if there's an acknowledgement from any side about anything ever. Earth's measured flat regardless. It wouldn't matter if you got it or not. Now, that might annoy some people. They might feel, I want to feel special. Tough luck. Earth will always be measured flat regardless of whether or not you understand it. Whether or not you whistle past it also. Whether or not you use it to infer sphericity and show how it does or doesn't work. It will still be measured flat regardless. It's not about people, it's about measurements. Earth was, is, and always will be measured flat. So a massive thank you to everybody who's joined us during the 2025 period of Flat Earth debate. Moving into 2026, it's going to be a good year, hopefully so. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on either Nathan Oakley or 1980 Premiering streams. And I will see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat Earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If Earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat Earth king of rhyme.